Welcome, everybody, to a video segment of a podcast I am working on right now called Campfire Stories, where I talk about different stories throughout my life that I have found particularly interesting, funny, whatnot. So I hope you guys enjoy what I have put together. So I want to talk today about the time I had my identity stolen. It is definitely a unique experience. If it's never happened to you, I don't recommend it. But again, you got to have a little bit of fun with it. Like looking back, I kind of you gotta embrace the moment. But I remember I had my identity stolen when I was in college, and it was like the best time you could get your identity stolen because I had like nothing going on, and so like in the limited amount of time that I have between working and writing papers and going to class, like I have to deal with this now. And so I remember the way I found it out was I was looking at my credit score because for some unknown reason, as a college student, I thought it'd be interesting to look at my credit score and realized it was down about 200 points. And I was like, that doesn't seem normal. But I'm still in college and I have no idea. So I Googled it and turns out it's not. So I was like, awesome. Let's find out like what's going on. Did I miss a credit card payment? Like, is this what happens when you miss a credit card payment? I don't know. So I look up all my history and it turns out I missed 9 credit card payments to 9 different credit cards that none of which I opened. So I was like, this looks like a compromised identity. So I did what any college student would do at this point. I took a nice long nap where I woke up groggy, half the day was gone, and I had very little time to actually do what I needed to do. But again, in college, it seemed reasonable. So we moved forward, and I was like, all right, step two, we need to Google what to do because, again, I have no idea how to deal with a situation like this. And I think I was like being optimistic at the time. I think I was hoping there was like a number I would call. Like I would type into Google and be like, type 1-800 identity theft. And like some guy will be on the other line just like, hey, let me help you. And he'd be like, awesome. We'll have this awesome conversation. He'll fix the situation. That number does not exist. Anything close to it does not exist. What I did have to do was call about 20 numbers, all of which were voice automated, which is a lot of fun because, who doesn't like to press, 8 different numbers on top of the phone number? But the first number that I called was Home Depot, which I felt bad because they actually called me like 2 months prior trying to warn me about this, but I thought it was a scam. So, like, I spent a good 20 minutes screwing with them, like being a dick, thinking they were scamming me, but it turns out they were helping me. So they had no reason to actually want to be nice to me, but so I call him up and this guy's really nice and he goes, "Awesome, I just need a police report." And I was like, "Cool. I definitely don't have one of those. Probably going to have to work on that." So I hang up with him and then I call the police station and no one's there because, why would a police station have anybody at the station? And so I wait about 2 days. I left a message hoping they would call me back. Nothing. So I call back and someone answers. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he goes, "Hey." And he goes, "I left a message, letting you know my situation about identity theft." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, we got that." And I was like, "Awesome. So were you going to call me back?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "When?" And he's like, "Ah." I was like, "Cool. You guys are on top of things." But I was like, "All right, cool, cool. You're here now. Let's deal with this. So what do I do? How do I get this police report?" And he goes, "Oh, you need to call 911." I was like, "No, it's not an emergency, sir. Like I just need to fill out a police report." He goes, "Yeah, 911." And I was like, "This is new, but okay, we'll do it." So I hang out with him. I call 911, and he's like, "This is emergency." I was like, "No." So I get put on hold, which I did not know was a thing. Like I didn't know 911 had a hold button. Um, no hold music, by the way, if you were wondering. I don't know. I guess that's very interesting. I don't know why they would have hold music. I guess they're not trying to impress. What would they do? Like maybe they would put Bad Boys on there. I don't know, but no hold music. So I'm waiting. Finally, the police officer answers the phone, and then I was like, "Hey, like, need to file out a police report." And he goes, "Cool. Let's meet at your school." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I don't think that's the best idea. Um, I go to a school of 2,000 conservative Christian students. This could only end badly." And he goes, "Well, do you have a car?" And I was like, "All right, so let's meet at my school." So we meet at the library, which was, again, probably not the best meeting place. I got about 30 or 40 different students who were like looking at a police officer walking in the door because they've like never seen one outside of a like traffic stop. So like looking at him like, oh, someone's getting arrested. And, I'm walking out there like, yeah, probably me. So we go upstairs together and like getting stared down. Like people are just looking up, just like, this dude's screwed. Which is, again, a lot of fun. So we go upstairs and we get this little meeting room. And, I'm about to like tell him all the details of what's going on. And I remember he just takes off his hat. And I look down, and in his hat, like taped to the top of his hat, is a cutout of what I can only assume was the obituary of his dead wife. I don't know why I said dead wife. It'd be kind of weird if it was obituary for his alive wife. I don't know. So it's an obituary for his wife. And I was like, cool. No matter what I say is not going to be anywhat relevant to him and his dead wife. Like I could be like, oh my gosh, like all this stuff is happening. And he'd just be like, my wife is dead. And I'm like, yeah, my stuff means nothing. So he was a really nice guy. We talked through everything. He did the report, and he hands me a card. He goes, "This is the report number. Just send this card to anybody, and they'll be able to go from there." And I was like, "Awesome! I think we can move on. Well, back to step one of calling these different companies." So we're back to calling Home Depot, and they're like, "Give me the card." I emailed them the card. And I was like, awesome. This is very simple. It took about, 20 minutes to do this whole phone call, and we are done. So I was like, if I just do this 8 more times, it won't be too long. Do a couple a day for the next couple days, and we'll be golden. And company number 3, things started to get a little bit difficult. And I also want to add, like, this was the second time that the recording starts with, please listen carefully as the menu options may have changed. Like, how bad is your company that people are calling to the point where they have memorized your menu options for customer service? So I remember I get on the phone call. It's the third company I've called, and she was like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I was like, "I need to talk to the fraud department." And she's like, "Awesome. What seems to be the issue?" And I was like, "Fraud." And she was like, "Well, what's the exact issue?" And I was like, "Well, someone opened a credit card in my name through your company. I just need to shut it down so it doesn't affect my credit score and I don't get fined for it." And they're like, awesome. Okay, well, let's just pull up the information and we can get the ball rolling. So I was like, cool, let's do that. So she goes, so what's the email account associated with your credit card? And I was like, ma'am, like it was fraud. Like I don't think he would use or she would use my email. In signing up for this credit card. I mean, I think I would have gotten that email. So it just doesn't make sense. She goes, oh, that's understandable. That's understandable. All right. Let's try this a different way. What is the phone number used on the account for the credit card? And I was like, ma'am, I don't think you understand the situation. None of the information on this credit card is mine aside from the social security number and maybe my name. I don't fully even know that. But like, I don't know the exact information. She goes, oh, it sounds like you need to talk to the fraud department. At this point, I'm just like face palming like so hard. I was like, yes, can I just talk to the fraud department? She's like, oh, let me transfer you over there. Like, she's doing me a favor after I asked her 20 minutes ago. And as I expected, I get a hold of the fraud department. He's like, oh, what's your situation? Like, she gave him no information. He has no idea what's going on. Like, what were you planning to do in the beginning? Like, when you said you're going to get the ball rolling, was this like, I'll secretly take care of the whole situation? I don't know. What I do know is it was the longest phone call I've ever made in my life. And so I did this multiple times and, different issues with different times. And after a couple days, I got it all sorted out, called every company I needed to call, called the credit reporting companies, and everything was good. I was like, I think it's all taken care of now. So it's been about 2 years since I originally made all these phone calls. And I remember my credit score still wasn't great. I never knew why. Like I was thinking maybe it'll just slowly make its way up, but it was just never doing great. And then I remember getting a letter in the mail from a fingerhut.com. It was very eye-opening. I opened it up and it was like, you owe us $3,000. And, I was like, cool, this is the issue. We need to fix it. So I call up fingerhut.com. And they were not happy to answer the phone call. They weren't even like excited. Like didn't pretend to be excited. They're like, hey, what's up? Like I was like, can you answer the phone like that? They're like, yeah. What do you want? And I was like, all right, cool. I need to talk to your fraud department. And he was like, cool. I'll take care of it. And he goes, I was like, no. I need to talk to your fraud department. We've been here before. I'm not doing this again. And he goes, no. I'll take care of it. And I was like, I'm pinned. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't have the number. Like, all right. So I was like, all right. So here's all my information. Um, and he goes, cool. You need to send us a police report. And I was like, I did that. And he goes, no, you sent us the card that the policeman gave you. You didn't actually send us the police report. And I was like, yes, you are correct. But I also sent that to 8 other companies. They have resolved said issue. So I'm thinking the issue is on your end, not mine. And he's like, yeah, well, we won't do anything without the police report. So I had to call the police department once again, which I realized was 10 times harder because I could no longer call the 911 that I was suggested 2 years prior, living in a different location. So I had to call the police department again and hoping, they would actually answer. Same guy answered, by the way, and same conversation. I was like, cool, like identity theft, and he's like, call 911. I was like, dude, no, like I can't. So finally, he's like, all right, I'll take care of it. He goes, what do you need? And I was like, I just need to have this report sent to me. So he's like, I can put that in a thing, and it'll be sent to you in a couple of days. So at this point, like he agreed to help me, but at the same time, he's pawning off his work to another person in the police department. Like, what are you doing in that office besides answering the phone? I don't know. So I get the police report and I send it to fingerhut.com and I call him and I'm like, hey, can I talk to the fraud department? Like maybe I'll get lucky. And he's like, no, because he knows. They're all in the system. So I was like, cool, whatever. Like you get the information and then we eventually go to fraud. And he's like, yes. So I sent him all this information and he goes, cool, that's exactly what we need. And I was like, cool. Can I talk to the fraud department? And he's like, nah. I was like, beginning of the phone call, you said you would take my information and then send me to fraud. And he goes, yeah. I was like, so can I talk to fraud? And he goes, oh, you don't need to talk to them. I already took care of the situation. And I was like, awesome. I still want to talk to fraud. And he goes, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, the fraud department's a completely different warehouse. It's a completely different 1-800 number, and we're not connected, so I can't directly transfer you over, but I can give you the number. And I was like, all right. So what you're telling me is both times I've called this company, you've agreed to transfer me to fraud after taking my information. You both had no intention of doing that because it's a completely different warehouse. And maybe it's a different point system. I don't know what they were thinking, but everyone just is like, I'll take care of it mentality, which maybe is a good thing. But like, again, every time I talk to them, they're just kind of like, hey, what's up? Like, what's the issue? I'll take care of it. No. I don't know. Worst customer service I've ever had. So after that, I remember, about 3 days later, I looked at my credit score and my credit score went up 100 points. 100 points overnight. And I was like, all right, I think we are done. And since then, it has been great. One note I will say, it is actually a lot of fun if you do call the companies, because some of them will actually give you a receipt of what was spent via the credit card. I remember one sent me a receipt for 2 14-karat gold earrings and 2 4-foot tall Elsa dolls from the movie Frozen. I was very concerned. Number one, those two things don't go together at all. Like I don't know what goes good with these nice little earrings I bought. 2 4-foot tall Elsa dolls. Like why 2? Like that's my concern. Like who? I don't think you need 1. Maybe if you can justify 1, I could get that. But 2 4-foot tall Elsa dolls and 14-karat gold earrings. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun trying to get some of the companies to send me those receipts. But that is the story of my identity getting stolen. It has not been stolen since. I hope it stays that way. But if it happens again, we'll be sure to tell you that story as well.